if you just got done grinding the A-4N, if you need a therapist, let me know in the comments. I'll hook you up with one. Because the grind towards this thing is pretty dreadful. This is probably one of those planes that's actually kind of worth the grind. Israeli tech tree is pretty bare bones, but this thing is somewhat different. It's an A4E basically with a pretty good engine and 4 pretty good missiles. Now they're not AIM-9Gs and they're not AIM-9Js, so don't expect to start slapping people around with them. But especially when people aren't aware of how good they are, they tend to pull some pretty nasty things. They're pretty agile, they're not very fast, so they're pretty easily dodgeable in that regard. Kinetically you can kind of just outrun them. And the A-10 is then kinetically not going to outrun the water. There he goes. So what is this thing like? Now imagine the A4. I think most of you have flown an A4. The A4E or the A4B, it feels very similar to that one, except this one actually has an engine. It's pretty damn good acceleration. Now the top speed is pretty mid, it's about 1080, but it basically brick walls when you reach like 1050-ish. It doesn't really accelerate anymore, and it's pretty damn painful when you have a G91 or like an F-Saber running you down. Now you can energy fight them, but you need to be in a position to do so. Now look at that missile pool, it's not an AIM-9J, but it's pretty damn respectable for the 9.3. Now at 9.7 you have planes with 500 flares, and why would you use them? I mean, at least this guy does. And it's just here for the sake of... I'm shooting it at a little bit of a longer range, and they are susceptible to flares. Now, of course, he's spamming them, as he should. And I mean, these missiles are pretty fun, honestly. To the Shafirs too, you can also bring the AIM-9Ds, but they lost the cage. So, yeah, I don't recommend them. 4 of these is definitely better than 4 cage 9Ds. So here we are, we heal someone on a 6, and it's an SPSK. Now, we have flares as well, which is very damn helpful. So we don't really have to worry about any of his missiles. Well, he only has 1 left, but you get the idea. So he's on our 6, and we are pretty snappy. He does outturn us, and he has better energy, and he has more top speed, and he dogfights better than us. But he has also a lot of AOA, so I want to use this to his disadvantage by making him overpull into certain directions, using his inertia against him. And slowly but surely, by making him commit to the shot so much, he will eventually overshoot us. Now this thing has pretty bad retention, so does the MiG-21. He's going to overshoot, we pull up and over, and we are in a decent position. He cuts afterburner, so he basically signs his own death warrant. And we then shoot a little bit too low because bottom mounted guns, pretty annoying. We almost pull back in, notice we would ram. So we disengage for the next engagement, and PSA for the MiG-21 pilots out there, dogfighting someone will cost you a lot of speed. Yeah, unfortunate that I didn't get a kill out of it, but I think the clip is good enough to use on its own, regardless, because it showcases what the plane can do in a defensive scenario pretty well. Now, message to all my patrons, top right, as per usual, thank you all very much for supporting me, as well as Alex with a thank you for 40k message. Thank you for the 10 bucks. So we have someone on a 6, the Shenyang decided to engage us at the start. We decided break off, we are not going to deal with that. I can dive on the guys below me, but that would put the Shenyang in a pretty good position. But the main reason here is he will start catching me in the long run. But for now we are faster than him, so we are just going to ignore him because I don't want to dogfight an F5. And we notice the F4. We're just going to pull up, shoot a missile at him, and we are going to continue flying straight. Now the missile is going to have no issues pulling into that. Shenyang then gets slammed by a teammate. Thank you very much, Duya. And we take Fanboy Jew out of the air. Just notice that in figure. Yeah, I'm not really going to dirty my words on that one. So that's the F4 down, and now we are going to start looking around a little bit. And this is a little bit of the same gameplay as the Lightning that I will upload in a few days here, where you can't really take the engagements on your own. Now this thing is a little bit more forgiving because it actually feels like a plane. It's not very floppy. It doesn't pull that much AOA, and the turn rate sustained is pretty bad. But at least when you point it somewhere, it feels like it will actually go. And now the rudder is still not amazing. Showcasing there, it's also some bad aim. I'm not really used to this plane yet, but it's also very unwieldy at these higher speeds. At very, very low speed too, it feels a little bit like a Mirage. It's probably the kind of delta wingy design. I know it's not literally one, but it feels like one. And if you haven't flown the Mirages, well, then I highly advise you to keep it that way. Yeah. Now the CJ used to be pretty decent. But guess what? The CJ also got its caged, or the uncaged 9Ds removed. So now you have basically an AIM-9B that pulls very hard. It's very annoying to use. Luckily now, a plane like this especially, where you can prime the missile in a second, it's very helpful. Now again, I'm staying near the outskirts. I'm seeing who I can drop in on. And the F4C there, not really prime target. The F5C, however, in front of us, is shooting at someone and then he turns around. Now he's probably not looking at us, he's looking at the guy he just shot at. Very big chance he won't pay attention to us whatsoever. He does not, and he pays with his engines for that, and he's gonna burn up momentarily. Now, guy slams into the ground going for the Su-7. I'm not too sure if he's damaged or not, or if he's just going slow. I'm just gonna lob a missile at him, and look at that thing pull. Sure, he's pretty slow, but you just have to imagine the missile doing its thing for a second. Now, that's skill number 2. A5C comes in, we try to push ahead on, and then we just disengage. No real reason for us to pull up after that, and he has to do a full almost 270 degree turn to catch us. So we will pull into the other direction, making it a 360 for him, split up the distance a little bit and fly towards our team. I do not feel like dogfighting an A5C right now. I rather just kill the F5 as he is being busy, and then decide later on if I want to dogfight the A5. Maybe if there's more people dead, because I don't really feel like getting third party. Shoot a missile at the F5. Yeah, sorry for that steal, but I didn't see your missile in the air. Now I'm bringing the A5 over here, and with some numbers, this guy should be pretty easily disposable. We also have a lot of numbers from the enemy on the other side of the map, and they are going to be completely useless for now. F4C then becomes even more useless and puts himself into the ground. And we will now try and focus on the A5. I'm not sure if he has any flares left. I want to make him burn a little bit of energy. Unfortunately, I shoot a missile together with one of my teammates, so he can dodge both of those with the same maneuver. Now for our missile, he was out of range anyway. Not too sure what other missile got shot at him. I'm gonna guess an AIM-9L. I'm not sure. I don't really know what's flying right behind me. But he is gonna try and pull in front of us. I'm trying to cut him off so we don't have to go as fast to actually catch him. But he's playing it right, which is very annoying. I want him to turn with me, of course, because there's some guy in the comment section, I'm entitled to kills, and if people don't kill themselves for me, then I get mad. Something along those lines. In reality, this guy is just trying to bleed us of our energy. He's kind of outrun us. He has 3 guys riding his ass. He can't really do anything. 2 of my teammates break off. So I'm expecting this guy to now start dogfighting me, which is exactly what he's gonna, well, kind of start doing. He breaks off. I cut him off, and I notice that he's not really done. He's not gonna pull right in my gun. So I break off, give him some room, and see if he wants to pull in then. I'm waiting for him to get a little bit more separation. I don't want to pull too much, because if I then have to pull back in, I will lose a lot of my speed, this being an A4 still. I pull off a little bit. I'm waiting for 5 kilometers, and he's probably going to pull in then. If he doesn't pull in at 5, he won't at all, and there he comes. So we go head on with him. Still going 11:30 roughly. And do I win a dogfight versus an A5? Yeah, definitely not, but at least I can try. Now we go head on. He pulls in a little bit late. I'm not really feeling that head on, and he is not going to stick to dogfight, and he is going to fly away from us. Correct move. Now he's actually going a little bit sideways here. If I land that properly, I could have hit him, but it's a pretty hefty shot, pretty hard shot. I almost hit that one, however. But we then do the same thing, give him some room, and 30 seconds later he is going to come back at us when he's at 5 kilometers. Now I have a rough idea of what he's going to try and do. So this time I pull a little bit earlier. I'm going to ignore his head on altogether, and we are going to end up very closely on his 6. Yeah, if you do the same thing twice, probably not going to work out very well. He loses tail control. I shoot his wingtip off as well. He is going to do absolutely nothing. I shoot a little bit more. I miss. And now we start looking around for some teammates. Oh, the enemy's teammate, of course. Now, AV8 shoots a missile in. I notice it. I flare. It wasn't going for me. F5C, yeah, unlucky. I then try to get behind the Harrier, but I have to pull too much to get there. I'm too slow at this point. He's too far away. I'm not good of enough shot with these Aidens, and he's simply too fast. Now the Harrier is going to try and climb away from us for a little while. So we are going to try and dive a little bit, pick up a little bit of speed, and see if we can cut him off. But he's going to keep that flight path. So I'm going to wait for one of my teammates who is in a T2 or an F1. One of those planes, fast after one of the planes with a Vulcan. There he is. he is gonna start running him down, and that makes it so that I can start dogfighting him. Now, a Harrier, if he dogfight conventionally, then yeah, I will win. If he uses thrust vectoring, yeah, no shit, not gonna happen. Now the Harrier can very easily one or just boom Azumas, because well, the acceleration is nuts. But in this 2v1 scenario where I'm already on your 6 and I'm starting to catch you, the Harrier is gonna have a pretty bad time getting us off him. Now, we pull up again, he notices that we will probably catch him, so he pulls back in. At this point, he just turns too bad and he needs to use his thrust vectoring. He doesn't, however, or he does a little bit too late, so we can just kind of stick behind him. And he really isn't going to be doing anything. We have some separation, we have some speed. We are in the perfect position to completely dick on this guy. So we start dicking on this guy, we aim at him, we hit his wingtip, we hit his tail. Still no damage, we hit him some more, or we miss some more, we hit his wingtip, we hit him again. And then the 5th burst finally sets him on fire and he's technically still not dead. Someone can still come in now and just one-shot this dude and give us an assist. Not really feeling that, but hey, it is what it is. Yak 28 goes vertical. Yeah, I can't really catch this guy. Yak 28 is actually pretty fast in that regard and pretty... It's a pretty decent plane. If that thing had good guns, I would actually fly. I'm not flying that thing. It's not happening. Unless of course you donate me, but it's not happening. It's a good plane, but it doesn't have any means of killing anyone because of course you have that 123 with 50 rounds. Now, a few games later, I'm diving in or I'm climbing and I see this AV8 right below us. So I'm just gonna dive in on this guy. I'm going to compress completely. I'm not sure how that missed. He then pulls back in and we only hit his elevator. But he's slow in the Harrier, he's crit, and I'm just gonna fly towards the rest of my team that are engaging some guys. Now, just taking a look at this guy so he doesn't shoot an AIM-9G at me. Then I noticed the Yak 38 shooting an R60 at me. So we fled a little bit, fled once more because I wasn't completely sure about the missile going into the flares. Luckily, it didn't actually end up hitting us. So we look up the Su-7. I'm not firing it right now because I'm expecting the lock to break. And there it is, because of that little bitchy cloud. So now I can't fire the missile at all because I'm in a very bad position. I pre-flare for no reason, just in case someone lobbed the missile at me. Su-7 is too slow. He is flying straight ahead of us and he's giving me a full fat broadside. So down he goes. Now MiG-17 flies over us. I can't really pull in the head-on, so I'm not even going to attempt to do so. And then I noticed the Harrier being pretty slow, as well as the MiG-17 going vertical here. So I'm looking at the MiG-17 and then I shoot a missile at the AV8. I can't go for the MiG-17 anyway. So I go back for the Harrier to secure him in case he dodges the missile. He doesn't. He catches it with both his hands. And now, yeah, I mean, I can't really turn around right now because if I engage that MiG-17, by the time I get the shot I will be out of energy and then the G91 and shit will start diving on me. I'm not having that. So for this case, especially because I'm flying this thing, I can't really dogfight multiple people at once. I'm gonna fly towards my team here and see if I can kill this guy, but he's clearly being taken care of. So I'm just waiting for him to die. There he goes. He gets set on fire. But now we kind of regroup with my team and we can start engaging their team at the same time. Now, as much as I like being the hero and just dogfighting 4 people at once, I'm not gonna do it in a plane like this. It's not a good idea. You're just going to get yourself killed. And that's not what we're about. So MiG-17 is pulling the opposite direction. I noticed that. Shoot a missile at him. I just break off to go for someone else. Keep looking at the missile because it's cinematic. Down goes the MiG-17. And here we are again, deciding who to go for. And the G91 is clearly on fire. The A4 is too far away. So naturally we will go for the MiG-17. Now, I decided to shoot a missile at him because he's pretty far away. He's probably not really going to pay attention to it. But he is. He's pulling into it. And you can probably tell by my commentary, it's very generic. And that's because when I'm flying a plane that doesn't really have palpable flight performance advantages, it's... Alright, so see it this way, right? It's not about knowing how to play this plane. It's about how you play any plane and then adapting those little things to this one, because there's no real way to fly this thing right other than not getting stuck into too many dogfights, not losing too much energy for no reason, and a little bit of aim. This plane is very straightforward. It's very simple. Doesn't mean that it's easy, doesn't mean that this thing is pick up and play. It's very simple in its rules and the way that you fly it. However, it's not very easy to execute. It's a great little plane, but it's probably not for someone that doesn't have much experience. So we kill the MiG-17 after we basically gank in with the entire team. And then we decide to run down the A-4E. Now the A-4E here is going to be pulling into us. We don't manage to take the shot here because we don't have enough AOA to actually pull in. Everyone is gunning for this guy. And it's just a matter of cleaning up. There's like 7 people riding this guy's ass. It's an A-4E that's already going not particularly fast. He dodges him. I'm not sure how that didn't proxy on him. We shoot a little bit. Down he goes. And even when the game is over, keep checking your 6. Because there's always someone salty around. There it is. That's the missile. Notice it just in time. I didn't register. I saw the missile trail come in. I'm like, that's probably not on me. It is. It very much is. Luckily it's a Milan. And I don't really need to dirty my words on that one, now do I? Now we have a Yak-28 here. He is going to be bombing. I actually thought it was a Yak-38 when I was shooting the missile. Doesn't really matter, but it's a very nice showcase of what this missile can actually do. Now sure, it's a Yak-28. It's not the best plane in the world. But he's pulling pretty steep. Like that's not an AIM-9B shot or an AIM-9E shot. That's a pretty nice missile kill. And I don't mean it. Yes, I mean that of course as in look at how good I am with my missiles. These missiles are no joke. Do not sleep on these missiles. If you see an A-4N, also do not sleep on what he's about to shoot at you. I'm going head on with the MiG-17. No sauce. A-4E pulling up for us. Not really feeling it. So I'm just going to fly away. Kind of BM to be honest. I'm just checking if he's not going to fire missiles at me. So I need to flare him. Shoot another missile. Keep looking behind me because I do not want to get missiled by someone that's simply just riding my ass. Good news is we are now out of range. Don't really have to worry about him anymore. And he goes head on with the A-4E. And that's him out of the match. Now MiG-17 in the background is also coming back in. There's 2 guys over there. And then there's the entire enemy team on my left. But my entire team is engaging these 2 guys. So instead I'm going to help them clean up these 2 guys. And then we will move in tandem to the enemy team that's blobbed up in the middle. And again, I want to 2v1. You can't really do it in this thing. It's simply not going to happen and you need to let that go. You are definitely a support plane, you are a bit of a missile bus. And the A-4E head on someone else. I don't get why people take those. But you know, it is what it is. In this scenario maybe, it's like 2v5 and he's probably not going to get any kills. But I just don't get the fun in it. I guess getting aircraft destroyed on the top of your screen is the sole reason you play it, no matter how you get them. Now the AV-8 turns behind us and I'm kind of wary of that missile coming off. Luckily there is no such a missile coming off. And down goes the Harrier. We can now altogether move towards the middle of the map and take out the last few remaining enemies. So a little bit later we arrive at the scene and we are just going to clean up a little bit. And I'm sorry for the commentary, it was a little bit boring, but there's not much to talk about with this plane. Now sure you have some climb rate, but you also have no retention, so you can't really use it. In a down tier, sure, it can be pretty fun. Up tier, you are probably going to struggle quite a bit, because it's simply very unforgiving, because it's still an A4. You know, so play this thing with your mind, not really with your arms, because your mechanical input is not the most important thing about this vehicle. At the end of the day, it's about your positioning and your decisions, not so much how well you can control your plane itself. Thank you all for watching. See you all in the next one.